The debut serialized comic book 100 Meters by manga artist Uoto, known for works such as On the Movements of the Earth, will be released as a theatrical anime on September 19, 2025. An interview was conducted with Uoto and director Kenji Iwaisawa, where they shared behind-the-scenes stories of creating some of the most outstanding scenes. Did the two of you know each other before the decision to make 100 Meters into a theatrical anime was made?
I came to know Uto-san through Orb. I noticed Orb stacked in a bookstore and was very curious. The title itself and the cover design were completely different from other works. When about 3 volumes of the comic were out, I bought them all and read them. I thought, this is interesting and new. When I researched the author, I was even more surprised to learn that he was still in his early 20s. On top of that, I was shocked that he was drawing an athletics manga called 100 Meters, which was a completely different subject from Orb.
Although I knew about director Iwaisawa's Ongaku, I couldn't watch it when it was released, but since it had a good reputation, I was curious, thinking it must be really interesting. The production background was quite unique, and I had the impression that he was a director with originality. Later, when the opportunity to make 100 Meters into a theatrical anime came up, I finally watched Ongaku, and it was incredibly interesting. It felt packed with the joy of animation, and I felt it was a work that actually inspired me to engage in creative activities myself. What surprised me was that even without me saying anything, my parents were enthusiastically watching Ongaku and saying, "It's interesting." I rarely had such an experience in my life, so I thought it was a work that could be conveyed to anyone. I am very honored that a director who creates such a substantial and strong work is in charge of 100 Meters.
About 2 weeks after reading 100 Meters, a representative from Pony Canyon contacted me, saying, "We have a project we want to do together." That project was 100 Meters. At that time, I was in the middle of a Uto-san boom and was paying the most attention to this artist's work, so I immediately agreed, saying I definitely want to do it. We even started discussing concrete details on the spot.
What kind of discussions did you have?
Mainly about the visual image. Track and field and the 100-meter dash are well known, but compared to sports like baseball or soccer, they might be considered a bit minor. Also, it's an individual event with a very short competition time of about 10 seconds. We discussed how to present this as entertainment.
Uoto-san, how did you feel about the theatrical anime adaptation?
I was very happy. Not only was it being adapted into media, but I was most pleased that it was chosen by director Iwaisawa, who has a strong artistic identity.
Did you have any requests regarding the theatrical anime adaptation?
I had no requests at all. However, in the manga, I use monologues and various expressions within the 10 seconds of the competition, but I was concerned that doing the same directly in animation might come off as cheap. I shared this concern, but the professionals assured me that, of course, those concerns will be cleared, so I wasn't worried.
I was worried. Uoto-san's manga is intense, so before meeting him, I wondered, what kind of person is he?
What points did you, director Iwaisawa, consider important when adapting it into a theatrical anime?
Since it's a work with an original source, I felt it couldn't be something half-hearted. I couldn't ignore Uoto-san and the fans of the original and just make it the way I wanted. At the same time, I thought it would be wrong to just follow the original and make a digest version. From the start, I had a rough idea of the balance between what absolutely must not be changed and what could be arranged as a film. First, I showed Uoto-san the draft structure and received feedback, then made revisions. Honestly, I was prepared for him to say, "This is no good at all, please start over from the beginning" about the first draft, but that wasn't the case. Instead, I received feedback that clearly showed he had looked at even the fine nuances.
How did Uoto-sensei feel after seeing the completed animation?
First, the actors' voices matched the image perfectly, and I felt they fit very well.
I also thought voices were important. If the voices don't fit in animation, it's disappointing and becomes noise for the viewers. I definitely wanted to avoid that, so I requested that the casting match the characters. The moment the cast was decided, everyone was a perfect fit, which I was grateful for.
The background music was also good. Because it was restrained, when the music swelled at key moments, the tension rose instantly. And even when the background music wasn't playing, I liked that you could still feel the presence of sound.
What points did you focus on in the use of music?
I clearly requested Hiroaki Tsutsumi-san create the main theme. In other words, I think music is often required to support and enhance the visuals without getting in the way. But my preference is for music that boldly stands out. So I wanted a catchy main theme and memorable background music. By the way, other songs created during the process of making the main theme were used in different scenes, and those songs were also candidates for the main theme, so I think it was quite a luxurious way of making the music.
Is there anything else Uoto-sensei felt after watching the film?
I was surprised by the inertia unique to rotoscoping in scenes like running or showing fatigue. It might be a common movement, but inertia is difficult to depict in manga. I'm glad to see it in lively animation. I also like lively expression, so I really liked it.
Please tell us what you kept in mind when shooting footage for rotoscoping.
While directing the actors performing in live-action shooting, I was converting the footage into images in my head in real time during filming. Rotoscoping brings lively movement and realism when turned into drawings, but when shooting the live-action footage to base it on, it's better to have the actors move in a large, comical way, like stage acting. If the live action is too realistic, it often looks unpleasant when converted into drawings, which is common with rotoscoping. For some scenes, shooting with exaggerated reactions results in just the right balance when turned into drawings.
I see. I understood that the reason why 100 meters felt a little different from other rotoscope works was because of this unique way of shooting. Also, in the elementary school segment, rotoscope wasn't used, but it started from the high school segment, right?
That's right.
That was also good. Within one film, you can see two types of animation, rotoscope and non-rotoscope movement. It might be possible in experimental films, but I was both interested and happy that this was attempted in a feature-length film shown nationwide. The substance of the 10 seconds flowing on screen is completely different between limited animation, which deliberately reduces the number of frames per second, and full animation, which increases frames for smooth movement. But the time flowing in the work is the same 10 seconds. The theme of 100 meters, where meta rules change the resolution of the substance, was felt even through the visual expression, and that was interesting.
In 100 meters, the scenery of the 10 seconds during the race is depicted repeatedly. When expressing this 10 seconds in animation or manga, what points did you both focus on?
In 100 meters, I feel that we incorporated many ideas through experiments and challenges. The tension before the start and the feeling as if time continues forever. But once it starts, it's over in an instant. This contrast was conscious. Manga is a medium where you can freely divide or cut time as much as you want. The way of drawing is really free, and you can even thicken an instant by how you use panels and pages. But since it's an individual sport, once the race starts, interaction with other athletes ends, leaving only introspection, which was also a difficulty. But because it was difficult, I enjoyed drawing it.
Since film depends on the viewer's perception, we cannot completely control time. However, like manga, we can make a scene seem shorter or longer. In 100 meters, though, we wanted viewers to truly feel this really is 10 seconds in terms of perception. The fact that the race ends in an instant is one of the charms of the 100-meter dash, so we were conscious of how to make people watching the film feel that. Since there are many running scenes, for every race I kept thinking, is there a new way to express this?
The final match of the National High School Tournament was a challenging scene drawn in one cut from before the match to the end, lasting 3 minutes and 40 seconds.
We decided from the beginning to shoot this scene in one cut. When the image of the scene came to mind, I was convinced this work will work. The trigger was when we went to watch an actual track and field competition during scenario hunting and noticed many athlete movements that were not shown in TV broadcasts. Even before the match starts, the starting blocks are set, athletes warm up and mentally prepare. Knowing this series of flows, I wanted to make a film that deliberately shows parts that would normally be cut in ordinary footage or stories. Creating long-length animation based on rotoscope footage shot with a single handheld camera might be a rare attempt. But if we can do something unprecedented and it matches the work's taste, I thought we must take on the challenge.
The staff must have put a lot of effort into creating such an innovative scene.
Our company was actually formed as a studio by gathering staff specifically for 100 meters, so many of them were inexperienced, newcomers, or completely blank slates. I was setting the atmosphere of this is what animation is like, so even though everyone thought normally we wouldn't do something like this, they still worked on it. Normally, those with extensive commercial animation experience would have opposed it, saying, "This is impossible." But I believe one of the great pleasures of watching a movie in a theater is having a special experience, and if we can achieve that with 100 meters, then it absolutely had to be included. It also adds depth to the work, and people who go to the theater might spread the word about the amazing scene. It was tough, but as a result of the challenge, the animation for the final match took a full year.
A whole year?
We started animation at the beginning of August 2024, with someone always drawing. It was finally completed at the beginning of this August.
I'm truly grateful that my work was chosen for such a deeply committed project. Anime and manga have become part of the industrial structure, so there are many works created for jobs and company survival. Thanks to that, people like me can earn a living, which I'm very thankful for. But the true potential of a work lies somewhere beyond product exchange and economic maximization. I can say that with certainty. That's why I'm happy the director insisted. This is not a typical way to create a commercial work, but it should be best for the piece, so let's try it. I also want to create such works, but I lack the stamina to do so. I truly respect animators and directors who face their work head-on.
All of these expressions were possible because of the work 100 meters. I was reminded again of the greatness of creating a work from zero. We can only respect Uoto-san.
What kind of people do you want to see this work?
I'm not very familiar with the anime industry, but I'm curious about what people who make anime think when they watch the theatrical anime adaptation of 100 meters. Even as an amateur at my level, there are many scenes where I felt this must have been extremely difficult to make. So people who create anime might notice even more how amazing it is. Also, I think it will surprise those who want to create anime in the future. Surely, 1 second of video can be analyzed as a second of anime with a different depth. I think this is a visual work with strength that can withstand such resolution and granularity scrutiny, so I hope many people will experience it.
Personally, I think many people who get hooked on 100 meters are in their 40s and 50s. They might feel nostalgic, recalling their youth. But I also want elementary and middle school students who want to do something in the future to watch it. I would be happy if 100 meters awakens that something in them. I hope what I have put out into the world circulates and reaches the younger generation, becoming a trigger for them to create something.
Please give a message to those looking forward to the movie.
The world of 100 meters in the movie is a little different from the manga, but I think there are scenes and lines that fans of the original want to see, so I hope they enjoy it, including those. For those who encounter 100 meters for the first time through the movie, I hope after watching it, they will read the original manga to delve into the psychological depictions and character backgrounds. Please enjoy both the manga and the manga.
As director Iwaisawa said, I think the strengths I found in the original and the strengths of the movie are different. I want people to appreciate both, and watching both is not a waste. I would be very happy if people spend money on both the movie and the manga.